Hello, and a warm welcome to all of you, my fellow travelers on this remarkable journey of life. We've sailed through decades of change, gathered storms of wisdom, and navigated the complex waters of careers, family, and personal growth. Now, in our 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, we aren't nearing an end. We are stepping into our prime, a chapter meant for depth, joy, and profound self-expression. But have you ever felt a subtle disconnect? A feeling that the vibrant, intelligent person you are on the inside isn't quite what the world sees on the outside? Sometimes, over the years, we unknowingly adopt small habits that act like a fine layer of dust, dulling our natural shine. Today, we're not here to talk about fixing ourselves. We're here to talk about polishing the masterpiece. We will explore 6 powerful pillars that support a life of radiance, confidence, and meaningful connection. This isn't about looking younger. It's about feeling and projecting the very best version of yourself right now. So, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's begin this empowering conversation together.
Part 1. The first pillar, the ritual of personal presence. Our first pillar is perhaps the most immediate, the most tangible, the ritual of personal presence. I use the word ritual intentionally because this is not about vanity, it's about a daily act of self-respect. It's the message we send to ourselves each morning that says, I am here, I matter, and I am worth the effort. Consider my friend Arthur, a retired history professor with a mind as sharp as a tack and a wit that could light up a room. After his beloved wife, Eleanor, passed away, the structure of his days dissolved. The small ritual of dressing for her, of splashing on the old spice she loved, vanished. He began to live in his comfortable sweatsuits. His silver hair, once impeccably parted, grew a little unruly. His grandchildren and friends still adored his stories, but they noticed a quiet dimming of his physical presence. The turning point wasn't a comment from anyone. It was a reflection. One afternoon, catching his image in a storefront window, he saw a stooped, tired-looking man who didn't match the vigorous debater living inside his head. That evening, he did something simple. He laid out a crisp collared shirt and a pair of trousers for the next day. The following morning, he took the time to shave carefully, comb his hair, and put on that clean outfit. The transformation was electric, not to the world initially, but to him. He stood taller. His thoughts felt clearer. When he went to his weekly coffee group, the conversation flowed differently. He felt less like a relic and more like the respected academic he was. People leaned in closer, not because of the shirt, but because of the renewed energy it symbolized. The why behind this pillar is profound. For many of us, our careers provided a daily reason to show up. In retirement, that external motivation is gone. We must create it for ourselves. This isn't about a 3-piece suit. It's about the simple things. Clean, well-fitting clothes that make you feel good. A simple skincare routine, not to erase wrinkles, but to soothe the skin you're in. For men, a neatly trimmed beard or a clean shave. For women, perhaps a touch of lipstick or a favorite scarf. Your actionable ritual. I call it the 5-minute flourish. Every morning, dedicate just 5 minutes to one small act of grooming that makes you feel polished. It could be styling your hair, applying a pleasant-smelling lotion, or choosing a piece of jewelry that holds meaning. This small investment pays huge dividends in confidence throughout your day. It's the foundational statement that you are an active, engaged participant in your own life.
Part 2, the second pillar. One that shapes our connections more than we realize. The art of harmonious conversation. This is about ensuring our voice is a bridge, not a barrier. As we age, two things can happen. A gradual, often unnoticed hearing loss can cause us to speak louder than we intend, and a lifetime of experience can make us eager to share our wisdom sometimes before the other person has finished their thought. I think of Eleanor, a wonderful woman who spent her life as a community organizer. She was a force of nature, full of passion and ideas. In her late 70s, at family dinners, her children noticed she would often speak over them, her voice booming with enthusiasm as she recounted a story or offered advice. They loved her dearly, but they began to share less, knowing the conversation would inevitably become a monologue. No one wanted to hurt her feelings by saying, "Mom, you're shouting." The shift came from her perceptive young granddaughter, who one day gently placed her hand on Eleanor's arm and said, "Grandma, I'd love to finish telling you about my school project before you give me ideas." It was said with such love that it landed softly. Eleanor paused. She hadn't even realized she'd cut the child off. It prompted her to get a hearing test, and sure enough, she had moderate hearing loss in one ear. Getting a discreet, modern hearing aid changed everything. Suddenly, she could hear the subtle nuances in conversation, the pauses, the soft inhalations. She rediscovered the joy of listening. She realized that true communication wasn't just about transmitting her thoughts, it was about the beautiful, rhythmic exchange of ideas. This isn't a criticism, it's a common physiological change, but its social impact is enormous. When we dominate a conversation, it can signal to others that their input isn't valued. It stifles the very connection we crave. Your actionable technique: practice the listen, pause, engage method. 1. Listen. When someone is speaking, listen with your whole attention. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Hear their words, their tone. 2. Pause. When they finish, take a full, silent breath. 1 beat. This simple pause prevents accidental interruptions and shows you are truly considering what they said. 3. Engage. Now respond. Your response will be more thoughtful and respectful because it's built on the foundation of what you just heard. Mastering this pillar transforms you from a broadcaster into a conversationalist. It makes people feel seen, heard, and valued in your presence, the very essence of deep and lasting relationships.
Part 3. The third pillar, the language of authentic style. Our third pillar is about what we wear, but it's not about fashion. It's the language of authentic style. Our clothes speak for us before we even say a word. For many of us, comfort becomes king in our later years, and rightly so. But sometimes, in the pursuit of comfort, we lose our sense of style, opting for clothes that are worn, baggy, and from a different era of our lives. These clothes can broadcast a message of disengagement or frailty, even when we feel strong and vital inside. Let's talk about Robert, a brilliant retired engineer. His wardrobe consisted of pleated pants from the 90s and polo shirts that had seen better days. They were comfortable, functional, and required zero thought. He was still the same sharp problem-solving man, but his appearance suggested he had checked out. His kids tried buying him new clothes for birthdays, but he'd always revert to his old favorites. His aha moment was wonderfully mundane. He was trying to convince his homeowners association to invest in a more efficient irrigation system. He had the data, the charts, the logic. but he felt he wasn't being taken seriously. Later that week, for a grandson's wedding, he had to buy a new suit. His wife insisted on a modern, tailored fit. Standing in front of the mirror, he saw not an old man, but a distinguished, authoritative figure. On a whim, he wore the new suit trousers and a crisp new button-down shirt to the next HOA meeting. He presented the exact same information, but this time they listened. They saw the expert, not just the retiree. His clothes spoke a language of relevance and precision that matched the content of his speech. We often cling to old clothes because they represent a time when we felt at our peak. But the truth is, our peak is now. Dressing for the body and life you have today is an act of present moment awareness. Your actionable strategy? The closet audit. Set aside one afternoon. Go through your closet piece by piece and ask 3 questions. 1. Does it fit me well right now? Not if I lose 10 pounds, right now. If not, it needs to be tailored or donated. 2. Is it in good condition? Look for stains, fading, and stretched out fabric. 3. Does it make me feel confident? When you put it on, do you feel like the best version of yourself? You don't need a huge wardrobe. You need a curated collection of pieces that fit well, are made from quality fabrics, and reflect the intelligent, experienced person you are today. It's about aligning your outer self with your vibrant inner self.
Part 4. The 4th pillar. The power of a positive perspective. Now we turn inward to our 4th pillar, which has the power to change the entire atmosphere around us. The power of a positive perspective. It's so easy, with a lifetime of experience, to see the flaws in the modern world, to comment on how things used to be better, how technology is infuriating, or to fall into a routine of discussing aches and pains. This is often just a way of making conversation, but over time it can become a habit of negativity. Think of it like this. Every conversation has an energy. Constant complaining, even about small things, drains that energy. It makes interactions feel heavy, and people, by nature, gravitate towards light. My Aunt Margaret is one of the kindest people I know, but she fell into what I call the nostalgia trap. Every conversation was peppered with how much better things were back in the day. The music, the work ethic, the prices. Her family still loved visiting, but they braced themselves for the inevitable wave of criticism about the state of the world. Her shift happened during a visit from her college-age nephew. He was showing her how to use her new tablet. She started, "Oh, this is so complicated. We never needed these things." He stopped, looked at her with genuine curiosity, and said, "Auntie, what's one thing about it that you think is cool?" The question disarmed her. She thought for a moment and admitted it was rather amazing she could see pictures of his trip to Spain instantly. The rest of the afternoon, he framed everything as a discovery, and she found herself feeling intrigued instead of irritated. That small interaction made her realize that her negativity was a lens she was choosing to look through. It wasn't that her observations were wrong, but they were incomplete. She was missing the good. It's not about being a Pollyanna and pretending challenges don't exist. It's about balance. The world is a mix of good and bad, frustrating and fascinating. Choosing where to place your focus is your superpower. Your actionable mindset shift, practice the curiosity over criticism rule. When you feel a complaint rising, consciously reframe it as a question. Instead of, "This new traffic system is a disaster," try, "I'm curious about the thinking behind this new traffic system." Instead of, "Young people are always on their phones," try, "What is it about those phones that is so engaging to you?" This simple shift changes you from a critic into a learner.
It opens up conversations instead of shutting them down. It makes you a person people want to share new ideas with, creating an upward spiral of positive engagement that is energizing for everyone.
Part 5. The fifth pillar, the stance of strength and grace. Our fifth pillar is communicated without a single word. It is the stance of strength and grace. I'm talking about our posture and body language. Over the years, from sitting at desks, from minor aches and pains, or from a psychological sense of becoming smaller, we can develop a habit of slouching, of shuffling our feet, of keeping our arms crossed in a protective stance. This nonverbal language is incredibly powerful. A slumped posture can signal fatigue, disinterest, or frailty, even when you're feeling energized and engaged. It can cause people to treat you as less capable than you are, offering help you don't need, and making assumptions about your vitality. David was a man who prided himself on his independence. A former Marine, he'd always had a commanding presence, but years of back pain had caused him to stoop, and he'd developed a slight shuffle to his walk. He started noticing that people would rush to open doors for him or speak to him in a slightly patronizing, high-pitched voice reserved for the very frail. It drove him mad. "I can still do it myself," he'd snap, which only made things more awkward. The change began in a physical therapy session. The therapist didn't just focus on the pain. She focused on his posture. She gave him a simple visualization. "David, imagine a string is attached to the crown of your head and it's gently pulling you up towards the sky." He practiced this everywhere. In the grocery line, watching TV, walking to the mailbox. He combined it with another piece of advice. Walk heel to toe, lifting your feet as if you're stepping over a small pebble. It felt unnatural at first, but within weeks, the difference was staggering. He looked taller, more alert. The world began to respond in kind. People met his gaze directly. The patronizing tones vanished. They were responding to the silent message of capability his new posture was sending. Your body tells a story. Standing tall communicates confidence. Maintaining eye contact signals equality and engagement. Using open hand gestures instead of keeping arms crossed makes you appear more approachable and trustworthy. Your actionable practice, the posture reset. Several times a day, wherever you are, do this. 1. Sit or stand as tall as you can. 2. Roll your shoulders up towards your ears, then back, and then let them drop down. This opens up your chest. 3. Imagine that string pulling you up from the crown of your head. 4. Uncross your arms and legs. Let your hands rest gently in your lap or at your sides. This simple 30-second reset recalibrates your physical presence. It tells your own brain you are alert and confident, and it sends that exact same message to everyone you interact with, ensuring you are seen as the capable, vibrant person you are.
Part 6. The sixth pillar, the aura of approachability. Finally, we arrive at our sixth and most delicate pillar, the aura of approachability. This pillar addresses those subtle but powerful sensory cues, specifically breath and body scent. This is the most difficult topic because, as we age, our own sense of smell can weaken, making us unaware of issues that others notice immediately. Furthermore, common medications can cause dry mouth, a primary contributor to bad breath, and our body chemistry simply changes. This isn't about poor hygiene, it's about biology. But the social consequence is real. People won't tell you. They will simply take a step back. They will shorten conversations. They will unconsciously create a physical distance that feels like an emotional one. Let's talk about Helen, the life of every party, known for her warm hugs and close conversation. She began taking a new medication for blood pressure. A side effect was severe dry mouth. She had no idea that it was causing persistent bad breath. She just noticed her friends seemed to be pulling away slightly. Her weekly canasta game felt less intimate. She felt a growing, inexplicable sense of isolation. The person who helped her was her dental hygienist, a woman she trusted. In the most clinical, kind, and non-judgmental way, the hygienist explained the connection between the medication, dry mouth, and breath odor. She didn't make Helen feel ashamed. She made her feel informed. She recommended a special mouthwash for dry mouth, sugar-free gum to stimulate saliva, and most importantly, a renewed focus on constant hydration. The difference was like night and day. Helen followed the advice rigorously. The next time she saw her friends, she noticed them leaning in again. The hugs were tighter. The shared laughter was closer. The invisible barrier she never knew existed had dissolved. This pillar is about removing an unintentional obstacle to the intimacy we all crave. It's about ensuring your presence is a welcoming one that draws people in, not pushes them away. Your actionable checklist for confidence. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Water is your best friend. It combats dry mouth and helps flush your system. Carry a water bottle with you. Consult your professionals. Talk to your dentist about dry mouth. Solutions exist and they work. Breathe easy. Sugar-free mints or gum can be a great help during the day. And fabric and frequency. Wear breathable fabrics like cotton and linen, and be mindful of how many times you wear an item of clothing before washing it, as fabrics can hold odors. Tending to this pillar is a profound act of social grace. It ensures that nothing stands in the way of your warmth, your wisdom, and your wonderful personality.
So there we have them. 6 pillars to support a life of radiance. The ritual of personal presence, the art of harmonious conversation, the language of authentic style, the power of a positive perspective, the stance of strength and grace, and the aura of approachability. As we've seen, none of these are about a desperate chase for youth. They are about a mindful claim on the dignity, vitality, and relevance that is rightfully ours at every age. They are about ensuring the person we are on the inside is the person the world gets to experience. The journey of our later years is not a passive decline. It is an active, creative process. We are the artists, and our life is the canvas. What you've learned today is that you hold the brush. With small, intentional strokes, you can add color, light, and depth, creating a portrait of a person who is not just aging, but evolving. A person who is not just respected for their past, but admired for their vibrant presence today. If this message resonated with you, please add your own wisdom to our community. Leave a comment below sharing one insight you gained or one small change you plan to make. Your experience is valuable. And if you found this conversation helpful, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, Senior Wise Journey, and share it with a friend who might also be inspired. Thank you for spending this time with me. Continue to walk your journey with grace and confidence, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.